Today I want to talk with you about what makes the Trigen nail system truly superior. But I'll start by sharing a little story. About 6 years ago, we suffered what I considered to be a huge blow to our ego. I was walking into the 2007 OTA meeting and noticed a poster right in front of the meeting hall. The poster displayed several x-rays of healed tibia fractures with various manufacturers' nails implanted. On the table were several of the manufacturer's nails, including ours, the Trigen knee nail. The poster was a contest. Each participant was to come up, look at the healed x-rays, pick up the nail from the table, and try to guess which manufacturer's nails had been used. In the end, the results of the contest showed that the participants were unable to tell which nails had been used in the x-rays, neither from the nail geometry nor the healing patterns. The conclusion was that modern nails are all pretty much the same and have clinically acceptable healing rates. So again, this was 2007, and the MetaNail had just been launched. We hadn't had a chance yet to gain the clinical experience to show how truly improved it was over the competition. We had several studies that had been initiated, but no results had been reached. What I realized from this was that we not only needed to accelerate our studies to show our superiority, but even more so, we needed to promote our entire trauma strategy, which had been kicked off in late 2002. Let me explain what I mean by telling you another story about what happened in 2002. The trauma team from Memphis was attending the OTA and listening to lectures. Many of you who were here back then will remember this. At that meeting, there was presentation after presentation on the clinical issues associated with current metaphyseal fixation, both in plates and nails. Shaft fracture fixation was being recognized as mature, and a whole new world of problems was ready to be solved. It was kind of a turning point in trauma fixation. Some new ideas were presented for distal nails, for distal tibias. Other more slightly mature ideas, like the list plate, were shown for the distal femur. In the end, what was clear was that there were many unmet needs that had yet to be solved. At that point in time, our trauma fixation product portfolio consisted primarily of the TC100, Trigen first generation system, and the IMHS. We were working on a periarticular plating system, the Trigen humeral nail, and had just chartered what would become the Intertan hip fracture nail. Well, within a few days of returning home, we embarked on a new strategy to extend our indications and incorporate additional stability in all metaphyseal applications. The periarticular plate project was canceled, and the Perilock system was chartered. The main focus of the humeral nail became creating proximal stability and preventing screw back out. The idea of a hip fracture nail that prevented femoral neck and head rotation led to the idea of two integrated screws in a hip stem-shaped proximal femoral nail, now known as Intertan. As we moved into the MetaNail development in 2004, we applied this strategy. Our goal was to extend these zones as you see them today to cover more proximal and distal fractures. We did this by making specific nails for both the femur and the tibia, with more locking hole options which incorporated the locked hole technology developed with the humeral nail. Of course, you could only put so many holes in a nail before it is too weak, so we studied what some of the nailing experts were doing to achieve superior outcomes. The real nailing purists were using the polar technique, or blocking screws, to add additional stability to the construct. These screws can be used to guide the trajectory of a nail as it is inserted, and can also be used to create additional stability around the construct. Now, we recognize that this was a technically challenging concept for the occasional nail user, so we created the blocking screw guide system to take out the guesswork. So now I'll come back to that 2007 blow to our ego, where this poster tried to say that a nail is a nail is a nail. But I am telling you now that is not the case. You have the only nail system on the market that has locked holes, optimized for metaphyseal fixation, and a blocking screw guide system that makes a tried and true technique of the elite now possible for all. Here's another one of my favorite stories. About the same time as this poster was shown at OTA saying a nail is a nail is a nail, I was in correspondence with a university that wanted to perform a biomechanics study of newer technology nails, specifically looking at metaphyseal stability. We had agreed to supply metatibia nails. While I was anxiously waiting for the study to begin, I got an email from the study investigator telling me that the study was going to be canceled because they could not get the nails they wanted from Synthes. In his email, he had included the correspondence he had had with my counterpart at Synthes, who basically said at this point in time they did not feel the expert tibia nail could compete with the metatibia nail. But in the following year, they would be launching a new device which would compete with it. Do you know what that device was? Well, later I found out that would be the Synthes ASLS screw. This is a screw that is designed with a resorbable bushing pre-assembled onto it. As this screw is inserted into an existing Synthes expert nail, the bushing is pressed into the holes, creating a very rigid fixed angle construct. Any hole receiving this screw automatically becomes a fixed angle construct, and without having to launch a whole new set of nails, only screws. So this was supposed to be our competition. Well, story time again. Last year, as I was walking through the posters at the OTA, the third poster I came to was a study by Kuhn and others. This was a study investigating clinical outcomes using the ASLS, and it showed a 50% non-union rate. In the conclusion, the authors actually stated in bold font, "We have stopped using these implants." Guys, this is a tremendous opportunity for us. It's something you should all be aware of. Even though this was just a poster, I suspect it is just the beginning of what we will see in publications in the near future. There is nothing that can compete with your metanails. Our competitors have tried and have not been successful. So why won't you see these same poor results with your metanails? Creating additional stability in a fixation construct is neither straightforward nor simple. Again, the ASLS device is designed so that when the bushing is pressed into the nail along with the screw, it creates an immovable, rigid construct. Our technology is vastly different. We felt like the nail and the screw interface should still have some freedom of motion so that we would not interfere with either primary or secondary healing, or create a construct that was so rigid that our screws would break. The locked hole technology in your metanails does not create a rigid fixed angle. It will allow the screw to have some slight toggle, but completely restricts it from translating.